in July. Hi, welcome to episode 138. It is June 10th, and we have a very laid-back show tonight because we're just kicking into the summer, and it's been hot here in Florida already. I know it's been hot out there in Utah too, hasn't it, Mandy? Yeah.
Yes, it has.
So we're just kicking it nice and slow tonight. We're going to talk about a few things of the future. Talk about the Seawolf Privateers. But as always, this show is always brought to you by the St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum. They are our major sponsors. And if you want to catch up with the show, how do you do that, Davey? You got to go to YouTube, right? There it is. Go to YouTube. Look for Captain's Quarters Podcast. Use that QR code to find us. Like us, hit the bell, subscribe to us, follow us, do all those things that everybody else says you have to do, and be a part of our crew. And as I always like to say, I like it when people like us. So please join the crew and be a part of the Captain's Quarters Podcast. We always like to kick off the show after that with a serious note, but a note of honor. And that would be 8 Bells, brought to us by our friends, the family of Rikers, the Rikers family of reenactors. They do Spanish, they do British, and they do pirate. And they are very instrumental in keeping my traveling museum very popular at some of our events, like the seafood event and the Celtic Festival. So the Riker family of reenactors sponsors 8 Bells. And how many do we have, Davey?
6.
6, very good. Let me get my specs on here, and let's see what we've got. Play it away. William Allison Anders, an American United States Air Force Major General, electrical engineer, nuclear engineer, NASA astronaut, businessman. In December 1968, he was a member of the crew of the Apollo 8, the first 3 people to leave low Earth orbit and travel to the moon, along with fellow astronauts Frank Borman and Jim Lovell. Anders circled the moon 10 times and broadcast live images and commentary back to Earth, including the Christmas Eve Genesis reading. During one of the mission's lunar orbits, he took the iconic Earthrise photograph. He was 90 years old. Rufus Parnell Parnelli was an American professional race driver and racing team owner. He is notable for his accomplishments while competing in the Indianapolis 500 and the Baja 1000 Desert Race and the Trans Am Championship Series. In 1962, he became the first driver to qualify over 150 mile per hour, 240 kilometers per hour. He won the race in 1963, then famously broke down while leading the 1967 race with 3 laps to go in a turbine car. During his career as a owner, he won the Indy 500 in 70 and 71 with driver Al Unser. He also was 90 years old. Armando Silvestri, an American and Mexican actor, at the time of his death, along with Ignacio Lopez Tarso. He was the oldest living actor and one of the last surviving stars from the golden age of Mexican cinema. He was 98 years old. Maury Markov, an American blogger, writer, artist, and supercentenarian. He was the oldest verified living man in the United States and the oldest known active blogger in the world. He was 110 years old. That gives me something to shoot for. Chester Walker, an American professional basketball player in the National Basketball Association. He was 7-time NBA All-Star and helped lead the Philadelphia 76ers to an NBA championship in '67. February 24, 2012, 2 days after his 72nd birthday, he was announced that Walker was elected to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee. He was formally inducted into the Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts on September 7, 2012. He was 84 years old. Richard Emery Zuschlag was an American businessman who was the chairman and chief executive officer of Arcadian Ambulance Service, which he co-founded in 71 in Lafayette, Louisiana. Zuschlag previously worked at the Greenville Broadcasting Company and Westinghouse Electric Space and Defense Center. Prior to his death, he was the only one of the three co-founders of Arcadia Ambulance who remained with the company, which is best known for its advanced technologies in medical care and communications. He was 76 years old. And as we like to remember them, we raise a glass and a toast. And ladies and gentlemen, we give them 8 bells. Very good, very good. I see we have guests on board our show tonight from Parlay 8. Good to see you. Zachary Harker up in Michigan. Good to see you. Jim Nunfeld over here in St. Augustine. And, of course, my good brother over there in Panama City Beach from the Pirates of the White Sands. Good to see all of you on board. I hope there's others just watching we just can't see. But for now, what's next? Oh, yeah. Mini Mayhem. Mm-hmm. And Mini Mayhem is sponsored by... I'm thinking, wait, because I don't have my notes in front of me. Comics, right? There we go. There we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, here, I'm just going to pull up my notes. Let me get my cursor over and pull up my notes so I know what in the hell I'm doing. Let's see. My mouse is not cooperating with me. There we go. Come on. Up, up, up. That one right there. Salt City Comics. How come I couldn't remember that? Old age, never mind. We won't talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, our good friend at Salt City Comics, he's made some great caricatures of us, cartoon figures, and we've got some other ideas to do some other things. So, Salt City Comics presents to you Mini Mayhem and Joke of the Week.
Ahoy, mates! Mini Mayhem here with Joke of the Week, sponsored by Salt City Comic. What is a pirate's favorite social media platform? Think about it, and I will give you the answer at the end of the show.
We'll have the reveal on that towards the very end of the show, sponsored by Salt City Comics. For now, though, how about a great walking tour of St. Augustine? Our quote of the week is always sponsored by Spyglass Travel. My good friends there, Kevin and Angie Rose, will give you not only a good historical tour of the oldest city in the nation, but they will also give you some good exercise as they walk you around the city and help you enjoy the history of such a great city as it is. And they sponsor Quote of the Week. What's our quote this week, Davey? The true test of character is not how much we know how to do, but how we behave when we don't know what to do. Ooh, that's an interesting quote. The true test of character is not how much we know how to do, but how we behave when we don't know what to do. I like that. Good quote, Davey. Very good quote. And today it's National. We added a new segment in several weeks ago, a National Day of. And I can go and look that up. And there are 6 things that are National Day of. National Frosted Cookie Day. National Egg Roll Day. National Herbs and Spice Day. National Black Cow Day. And for those of you that don't know, Black Cow is the name for a root beer float. Believe it or not. Iced Tea Day. If you're here in the South, that is the liquid elixir of life. And the last one, which doesn't make any sense to me, ballpoint pen day. Whether you're writing a letter, jotting down a grocery list, or crafting a Shakespearean sonnet, make sure you use a ballpoint pen on National Ballpoint Pen Day. And it just so happens I have one right here. So it does lead me, though, because three of the things, cookie day, egg roll day, herbs and spice, black cow, iced tea, almost all of it was about food in some variation of someone or other. So here is our question of the week, sponsored by Ancient City Sirens, our good friends there, Miss Gina and the girls that do all the dancing. They do it all, and they're always a part of everything the Swashbucklers do. So our question of the week, what's your favorite summertime beverage? Mine happens to be, well, I do like root beer floats, but I also like rum with maybe mango juice. That's always good too. So we'll see what some of you have put down. Let's see. On that note, it's This Week in Nautical History, Davey, sponsored by our friends at Florida Water Tours. Like a walking tour with Spyglass Travel, a water tour of the city of St. Augustine is an excellent way to enjoy the sights and sounds of the water around St. Augustine, the Matanzas Bay. Call them up, talk to them, get on board one of their ships. They have several, and let's see what we can do. On that note, give us This Week in Nautical History, Davey.
Welcome to This Week in Nautical History, sponsored by our friends at Florida Water Tours. Experience the Intercoastal Waterway at its finest, featuring picture-perfect attractions. We begin this week in nautical history in the year 1627. Dutch privateer Piet Hein attacks Portuguese ships in the Bay of All Saints, Brazil. 1768, British customs officials seize John Hancock's ship, the Liberty, on suspicion that Hancock had illegally unloaded cargo without paying duties a month earlier. 1770, British explorer Captain James Cook is the first European to discover the Great Barrier Reef off Australia by running aground on its coral, causing the ship to leak. Ship later beached and repaired. 1775, First Naval Battle of the Revolution, Unity, U.S. captures Margaretta, Britain. 1789, Captain William Bligh and his loyal men cast off from HMS Bounty, reached Timor after sailing 5,800 kilometers in a 6-meter launch. 1809, first U.S. steamboat, the Phoenix, to make an ocean voyage leaves New York for Philadelphia. 1864, U.S. Union warship USS Kearsarge appears off Cherbourg. 1881, the USS Jeannette, under the command of George Washington DeLong, is crushed by Arctic ice after 21 months of icebound drifting. 1900, David Beatty and 150 men from the HMS Barfleur land as part of a force of 2,400 defending Tientsin from 15,000 Chinese troops plus Boxers. And finally, 1945, U.S. destroyer William D. Porter, Willie D., sunk by kamikaze. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
Very good, Davey. Very good. Parlay 8, rum, and more rum. I couldn't have said it better myself. Best summertime beverage, rum with a chaser of rum and a side of rum. You would think we had pirates watching the show tonight. Everybody's into rum. Well, cheers to that. Aye. Now let's see. New adventures. We don't have a whole lot of new adventures going on. And in our guest segment, we're going to talk about some things that happened this past weekend. Some great things that happened. Our t-shirt deal. We'll be giving you the official lowdown on that next Monday night. We're trying to get it all extended into July and August, only because it got so busy trying to do everything else. We just did not promote it right. We didn't sell many. So what we need to do is get out there and really do something. So I'm waiting for the t-shirt company to make the agreement with me, which they sent an email this morning. I replied, and we'll wait. I'll have an answer probably by tomorrow. So by next Monday night, we're going to extend the t-shirt deal out so we can have it as a summertime project. And maybe we'll make it, put a little extra juice in it somehow and make sure it's good for everyone. But our t-shirts, we'll show you those t-shirts on Monday evening next week. And next week's going to be a very interesting show, but we'll talk about that in our up and coming shows we talk about it towards the end of the show. Also, you might want to consider my acting seminar. We're working on a location right now in St. Augustine and hopefully doing one in July and one in August. So we'll see where we stand with that. There's a friend of mine that has a comedy workshop, and she has a location that she does it. And we're trying to make a deal to use her workshop location to do my seminars also. So we'll see what we can do about that. And we're trying to do them on a Saturday afternoon. So if you are from out of town and you come in on a Saturday afternoon, then you can hang out at the St. George Street at some of the taverns of Mayhem's favorite places. On that note, we don't have any guests, but we do want to talk about two things in our guest segment. Why are we pirates? Why do we do pirating? For the most part, almost every one of the pirates that I know and the pirate crews that I know, a good portion of them, they do this for community involvement, community support, and of course for the children. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of times, I get messages and phone calls and texts and Facebook messages from people that are coming in from out of town and want to know if Mayhem's at the museum. Or even more so, and this has happened twice in the past couple of weeks, people that live in St. Augustine and know who I am ask me when I'm going to be at the museum because they have grandchildren or nieces and nephews, and they want to introduce them to Captain Mayhem. That happened this week, and I have now a new friend. Davey, you got those pictures?
Oh, I do.
I have a new friend. This is Miss Raina, Pirate Princess Raina. She's 6 years old, and she came to the museum and hung out with me while we did a tour. And of course, she got a few special gifts, but she had that outfit, garb as it is, all set up just to come and visit me at the museum. Was there a second one, Davey? There she is, standing with me as we're telling the tale of poetry and where the term "dead men tell no tales" comes from. She was a lot of fun. She was very animated. And at the end, before they left, she gave me a big hug and said that I was a nice pirate and that she would miss me very much. Those were her goodbye words to me. She got some extra presents from me, and we had a good time. It happens all the time, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the flattering thing about being Captain William Mayhem. People want to bring their children, their grandchildren, their nieces, their nephews. I get invited to all kinds of things. I even have some places that will, or some places, I have some families that will come to the St. Augustine every summer, and we take the same exact picture, same exact pose every summer. It's flattering, ladies and gentlemen, and it's one of the major reasons why we do what we do. So, I see Will the Historian just popped in too. I like a nice blue Hawaiian by the pool. Well, in order to get a blue Hawaiian, don't you have to freeze them first? But I'm sure Hawaiians don't like the cold. But after that, I just wanted to tell you my adventure with Miss Princess Raina. But the Seawolf Privateers did something that was just outstanding and worthy of note and brag. And we're going to talk about bragging in a little bit too. But for now, it was truly worth it. The Seawolf Privateers out of Flagler, their main focus is foster children in that county and beyond, but primarily foster children in that county. And they do a mermaid. Is it a mermaid and pirate party, Davey?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's only for the foster children and the siblings and the families of those foster children. It is not open to the public in any way, shape, or form. So we don't have lots of pictures that we can show because there is some legal aspects of showing the pictures with the children. We have some pictures with the backs of their heads doing the activities. They had arts and crafts set up. They can come to a table where I'm at and I teach them how to do magic tricks. I do a magic show. Gina and the Sirens were there for there were 3 mermaids for the kids to get their picture taken with the mermaids. I know the Powder Monkey was there. So we have some really good pictures. Davey, do you want to pop the pictures up one at a time and see if I can narrate them? There is Captain Scabbard and his sidekick and main brain for everything, Miss Katie. She's the first mate. And there's one of the little ones that was there. And obviously that picture has been allowed. So when we take pictures of the kids, we do ask the parents for permission to use these. So obviously that picture was allowed. And boy, that little boy had a good time. There is Machete and his mom, Tony. They came down and helped run one of the games because they set up several games for the kids to play, and they helped set up the games. Now, Machete's new pirate name is Hello Kitty. And here's why. And I'm bragging about him more than making fun of him. Machete, with several of the foster boys that were there, they kind of got together and had a good time roaming about. And they all got this wild idea, and they all went to the woman doing the face painting, and they all these boys had Hello Kitty faces painted on them. And Machete, as Machete said, if it's fun for them and makes them happy, then I might as well do it with them too. And he made some new friends. So I say it more as a brag about Machete. He is a good crewmate and a very good example of what we do and why we do it. Any other pictures, Davey? There's Tinker. Tinker was there. And that little mermaid right there, she was just cute as a bug and just loved to hang out with all the pirates that were there. So there's the Tinker with the little mermaid. What else do you have? There's Captain Scabbard looking surprised because he has no idea what's going on. There's Captain Mayhem. He's looking over at Captain Scabbard, agreeing with him that we have no idea what's going on. There's Tinker with one of the others. That's a right fine little pirate right there. Tinker is, by the way, a part of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. There were several of us there helping out. There's one of the crew of the Seawolves. I believe he was running the beanbag and the ring toss game. There's Captain Mayhem doing the beloved ancient Chinese linking rings. And that little boy was a big help. He thought he had it figured out, but of course, nobody ever does. Not even me. But he was a lot of fun to have in the show. And that's a little bit small, but you can see myself and Captain Scabbard and the lovely Miss Katie. They had a really cool a company that had a photo machine. And as you can see, everybody's photo had Pirate and Mermaid Adventure Day 2024 Seawolf Privateers posted on it. So that was kind of cool. And everybody got a picture. So we had to do a couple of quick pictures there and have a good time. And the middle one is pretty candid, and we thought we had posed, and then we started moving about, and then the camera flashed on us. So it got us actually out of pose, which I think that middle one is the best picture. What else do we have? There's one of the Seawolf Privateers at the arts and crafts table. As you can see, there's a game going on in the back. They actually built a little miniature golf course too. It was very cool. And there is a fishing pond that the kids get to fish and pull up prizes out of the water. There's the Powder Monkey being threatened with a little boy and a sword. And the Powder Monkey knows better than to do anything. Look at that. They're working on, if if I remember right, that arts and crafts, they may have been working on parrots. You can see a little white parrot on that stick in the background there, and they get to put all these things on the feathers on the parrots. It was a really cool arts and crafts setup. Very cool. And a giant Plinko game. Swashbucklers have a Plinko game also, but this was not ours. That's theirs. Seawolf crew has some really good games for the kids to play. And of course, this is one of the reasons we do it. Hugs from the little ones. I got quite a few that day also. What else do we have, Davey? Is that it? More arts and crafts. And everybody comes dressed as pirates or mermaids or whatever, and there is more stuff for them to do. And of course, there's also food. They all get a meal. And this year it was hot dogs, barbecue, watermelon, beans, ices, juice, and I think that was about it. It was a good lunch too. Very good. Oh, and there's the powder monkey with a couple of more of the little rascallions.
Yeah, that one we were allowed to use. There was some I wanted to be at the show, but was not allowed to because, as you said, the rules.
Yeah,
Powder
the
monkey
law.
was very popular because there was lots of little ones. I spent more time kneeling down and getting lots of hugs and stuff.
I bet your knees didn't feel good at the end of the day, did they?
Yeah, I was surprised I could still get up, but you know what? Like we've talked about. I was adopted. I was a foster kid, so it means everything to me. That means the world to them. I was the only character, like a Disney character, that was there, and to them, that's everything, and that means more to me than. That's all the reason why you're doing it. Davy Longwood wasn't even there. It was all Powder Monkey that day.
It was no Davy Longwood. It's a shame we didn't get a picture of the little girl that just wouldn't leave you alone. What was she, about 3 years old?
Yeah, she wanted. I have it, but I wasn't. Katie gave it to me, but I can't use it.
Yeah, it's she's 3 years old, and just it didn't matter where you were at. If she saw you, she came running across. I mean, running across the space just to go stand and hug you again. And they couldn't get her to leave. She wanted to stay. So it was cute. And that, you're right. This attention that they get and the games and the whole thing, there were several children that they were very upset that they had to leave. They didn't want to leave. I had one little boy that I had to give a hug and promise that we would do it all again next year. If he wouldn't cry anymore, he would be able to come back and hang out with us, and we'd do it all over again next year. And so he quit crying and he went on home. Now he had a big brother who was he was not a foster child. The big brother was they call him. There was a term for the siblings that are the actual real children of the family, and I don't remember what it was, but he was about 14, and he was making sure that his little foster brother was being taken care of and doing. He was such a good brother. 14 years old. I was just so impressed with him that before they left, I gave him my pirate pocket watch as a gift because he just impressed me as being such a good brother. And that's a bunch of the ladies of the Seawolf Privateers. Some of them are actual crew members. Others of them are the support of the Seawolf Privateers. And without them, this event would not have been as big a success as it was. It was a great success with them and with everybody else. It was a fantastic event. This is the third year they've done it. It's the second year it's been inside. And even inside that place, it's warm. I'm sure Davey can tell you that. And it is warm, but the first year they did it outside, and it was brutal. It was really brutal. So I'm glad they're doing it inside. It was a lot of fun. But that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. We do these things for community involvement, and primarily, like the Seawolves doing it for the foster children. The St. Augustine Swashbucklers, they do it for Inc., which is teachers and students. They do it for the Humane Society, which is our fur babies. What's some of our other charities there, Davey? What am I missing?
Well, in the past, we did it for, the Make-A-Wish thing.
And the Make-A-Wish, we've also done it for Dreams Come True.
Yep.
And Give Kids the World. Well, it's a variety of different things that most of us do for the children. Speaking of children, there's a kid right there that ran away. So we do it for the kids. I know that, like the Queen Anne's Revenge, they do it for the autistic children. They have in fact, they had an autistic event a couple of weeks ago that was quite a success. And some of our crews, we do things for food banks. I know that Ancient City Privateers did something for what is kind of a food bank here in this past weekend and donated a lot of money. So there's a variety of things that these pirates around Florida do, and I'm sure throughout the entire United States, but there are more pirate crews in Florida than there are anywhere else, I'm quite sure. But it's always about community involvement and doing things for the children or the animals or the homeless or just all those people that are in need. So it's very important to understand what we do. So it was a great event all the way around. Jim reminds me that we do stuff for the Fire Explorers Post. It's another charity that we support. Yes, we do support them also. The Fire Explorers is kind of like the Sheriff Explorers. Instead of them being sheriff, they're firefighters, or maybe will grow into being firefighters. So we do support them also. It's very important. So it's community involvement, ladies and gentlemen, and that's very, very important for all of us. It makes us feel good about what we do. Davey, you got anything you want to say?
No.
Mandy, you do stuff out there with your pirate crew. You do stuff for reading and
so we have a Reach, which is a separate charity that my crew both duels over at, which is history, literacy, art, STEM, and anti-bullying programs that we go out and work for. And then we go help with Make-A-Wish pirate requests because we have all the pirates.
So you see, even in Utah, they're doing it for pirates. Oh, by the way, I just want to let you know that, remember that bottle of rum you gave me, the white rum?
Yeah,
Brigham rum?
Yeah.
It looks good on the shelf. And we'll leave it at that.
So the spiced one is better?
The spiced one is way better. Their white rum is I'll keep it around for medicinal purposes.
You gotta try them all, right?
Yeah. Robert and Emily Farrell came and visited with me for a little bit of time on Saturday evening, and we sat and smoked a cigar and drank some rum. We tasted that. We all have the same opinion, but Robert drank almost an entire bottle of bamboo rum all by himself. I don't know how he did it, but he sure did do it. Left a little bit for me, and I think Emily got at least one glass, so we'll see. But yeah, it's okay rum, but it's going to look good, better on the shelf. So with no guests, it makes our show a little bit shorter, and it's going to make our whole show a little bit shorter. But Davey, why don't we do This Week in History right now? While you're doing that, I'm going to go down and look at all the comments we have from everybody.
All right.
Welcome to This Week in History, sponsored by our good friends at Dick's Wings Bar and Grill. Wings, salads, wraps, quesadillas, and more. No matter what your taste buds crave, they've got you covered. We begin This Week in History in the year 1692. The first victim of the Salem witch trials, Bridget Bishop, is hanged for witchcraft in the colony of Massachusetts. 1742. Benjamin Franklin invents his Franklin stove. 1752. Benjamin Franklin tests the lightning conductor with his kite flying experiment. 1777. U.S. Continental Congress adopts the Stars and Stripes flag designed by Francis Hopkinson, replacing the Grand Union flag. 1845. Andrew Jackson's African gray parrot Pole is removed from his funeral for swearing at the Hermitage, Tennessee. Funeral attendee William Menifee Normant recorded, before the sermon and while the crowd was gathering, a wicked parrot that was a household pet got excited and commenced swearing so loud and long as to disturb the people and had to be carried from the house. 1864. Confederate forces of Jubal early attack Fort Stevens, barely 4 miles from the White House, with Abraham Lincoln observing the battle. 1884. America's first purpose-built roller coaster ride, the Switchback Railway, opens at Coney Island, New York, built by LaMarcus Thompson. 1898. U.S. Marines land in Cuba during the Spanish-American War. 1922. U.S. President Warren G. Harding is first U.S. president to use radio, dedicates the Francis Scott Key Memorial in Baltimore. 1935. In Akron, Ohio, Dr. Robert H. Smith, Dr. Bob, from Akron, and Bill Wilson from New York City form Alcoholics Anonymous, the date of Smith's last drink. 1963. U.S. Equal Pay Act signed into law by President John F. Kennedy. 1976. Gong Show premieres on TV. 1992. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Henry Thomas and Drew Barrymore, is released. And finally, 1989, Tales from the Crypt, TV anthology debut on HBO. And that was This Week in History.
Very good, Davey. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I neglected to say, but I will now. Our This Week in History is always sponsored by Dick's Wings out here on US 1 by the St. Augustine Shores. You want a good lunch? Boy, does he have some great lunch specials. In fact, I think I'm going to go have a lunch special tomorrow and say hello to him and have a burger. So if you want a great lunch special or a great hot dog special or a great hamburger special, Dick's Wings is the place to be. So consider that and frequent them often. So Davey, it's time for Across the Captain's Desk. So I have a little bit of something I want to talk about with everybody. Are you ready? So this is a presentation to my audience and to anybody else that would like to listen about the presentation of public image. During this past weekend, I saw on social media and or was part of events throughout the weekend done by pirates to aid or support their communities. I saw pirate crews supporting other pirates and other crews, even individual pirates stepping up on social media to voice support of others in need. A perfect example with that would be that Miss Gina and her girls lost so much a couple of weeks ago, and many pirates stepped up and did some good for her. To all of those, I say well played and well done. Yet there is still always an undercurrent of negativity within our pirate community, and I use my platform to address thoughts and ideas. Thoughts and ideas. Many of you have taken my acting seminars over the years and are aware that these two subjects I talk about, or I'm about to talk about, are part of my seminar, and I share these thoughts and ideas with you now. So, the first one, public image, or better stated, role models. All of us become role models the minute we present ourselves in a public venue in garb or costume, especially in a town that derives its main income and general purpose as a tourist town. Please always be mindful that in this day and age, we must always be mindful of the public image that we put forth. It is even harder at times when you portray a pirate, because the general perceived image of pirates by the public is based on movies primarily, not based on history books. Dirty, drunk, vulgar, party-like animals, lack of manners may all be perceived, but should certainly not be the public image. especially when many are using their fun and love of pirates to do good work for children and families. Be honest if you actually want to live the pirate life. Know that the rules of conduct of crews on most ships had a lot more to do with loyalty, integrity, and honesty, believe it or not, than it had to do with drunk or bad manners. Remember, bragging about being a pirate in those days and in some locales could have been the start of a very bad ending in which you become the star of your own hempen jig dance. I have had many disagree with me on the idea of winding up being a role model. Many have said they do not want to be a role model and they should not be. But the minute you present yourself as something bigger than yourself in the public eye, the choice isn't really yours anymore. Always remember, someone is watching. So please do pay attention to that. The second part that I want to talk about is bragging rights. Now, I've been in the pirate community for 18 plus years now, and I have always used social media to brag, not just about things I do, but especially about the things my crew does. And in many cases, I will even brag about other crews and the good I may see them do. But in reality, I don't consider it bragging. It's really promoting and advertising. For me, pirating is the venue in which I run a business and make my income. And letting people know what I do before, during, and after is a part of that business. After 18 years, I can tell you the benefits of promoting oneself and or a crew that helps me with everything. This crew, the Swashbucklers, they do that. You see, by keeping the word out there of your successes, your integrities, and even, yes, sometimes your failures, businesses and people are more apt to support you knowing your track record and what your cause and your purpose is. If you're successful, and this happens to me now after all these years, I can go back to some of those people that have supported me in the past, and they no longer ask me what I want. They just ask me how they can help because they know. It is the one solid positive of social media that I agree with, the ability to let more people know what we do, how we do, and who we do it for. I will always shout to the highest heavens of social media all of the work the St. Augustine Swashbucklers do. Not for me at all, because I am not the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. I am just one of over 40 crew members that make the crew what it is. But as the leader, it is my responsibility to present my crew to the public and to show them off. I find it ironic that there are some in our circles that have bad-mouthed others stating that bragging about doing charity work is so wrong and you shouldn't do it. But I have actually noticed some of those same people have changed their tune when it comes to their very own same actions on this subject of bragging or promoting. Simply stated, if no one knows, then who will know? Successes breed more support. More support breeds more success. More success breeds more support. You see where I'm going with this. It is why some celebrities and politicians have social media agents. The tales of your work must be shared before, during, and after. So to close, a great job by many is very important to know by many. We at the Captain's Quarters podcast hope to help brag about all we can from all we see going on with other pirates and other groups in our community and beyond. And if this subject of role modeling promotions interests you more, then consider maybe attending Captain Mayhem's acting seminar coming up this summer in July and August. We talk about it, we share ideas, and that's the best part. On that note, I close with one last thought. We're pirates, but we're not really pirates. We're just a lot of good people wanting to do good for our community with a talent that we enjoy doing. Enough said. What do you think, Mandy? Thumbs up? Yep. Davey?
Yes.
We get complaints, but that's the way it works. Parlay 8, Black Sails Adventures. I'm always glad to see you guys there. I do have a question for Black Sails. Last time we had any conversation, you were talking about moving to the great state of Florida. have you changed that now? Are you moving still? What's the word? We'd be interested in hearing. Parlay 8, I'm curious when your next show is. I'd like to be able to catch some more of your shows. And right here in front of everybody, are you planning on coming to St. Augustine in February of 2025 for the Pirate Festival? We sure hope so. I did get a yes out of the Ferals, so I'm hoping that you will also be a part of our new adventures into 2025. So, Davey, guests on board. The only two I know of right now coming up is July 8th. But before I talk about July 8th, let's talk about next Monday night. Next Monday night, Mark Harrison will be here sitting with me. And he's a parachutist, and he does some things for the government. He was in Normandy on D-Day last week, and he jumped. And there's some pictures and videos. He took our pirate flag and got it autographed. And he sent me a message. We got our pirate flag autographed by Colonel Allen West. Anybody know who that is? Or I sure do. So I'm very thrilled to have and put that flag right back up here with his autograph on it for our show. So we'll be talking about D-Day. Yes, I know it's over a week after, but we couldn't time it any different than that because of the way the Mondays fell and the way the travel time fell for Mark and his wife, Melinda. So they'll be back, and that'll be our show next Monday night. July 8th, we're doing a show on Superman, and we're working on some extra parts for that. Information about Superman versus the KKK, we're still working on, and we'll see where we come up with all of that. We'd like to have you be on our show, anybody and everybody. I have nothing but almost totally open calendar for the rest of the year. I have 7 or 8 emails going out right now as of today, bringing people in. We have a Marilyn Monroe impersonator. We have the sheriff of St. Johns County. We have the possible soon-to-be sheriff of Pima County going to be on the show. We have John Lennox, who has written books about boarding tactics, naval boarding tactics. We have a good friend of ours who wrote the book, Sea Beasties. He wants to be on the show. So we have all kinds of people that we're trying to bring in on board the show. And if you want to be on the show or can be on the show, I think we need to have Parlay 8 be on the show. What do you think, Davey?
Yeah.
I think we need to pick that time. Let's see. Parlay 8 answered my question, so let's see what they said. We start back at the end of August, at the end of our pirate season, but we will be back for Old City Pirate Day. Very good. So why don't we make this plan then? If you start your season in August, why don't we pick a date the first part of August and have you guys be on the show to talk about your show starting up at the end of the season there? What do you think of that? Let us know. I think it's a marvelous idea, but then what do I know? I'm just the pretty face here, and Davey and Mandy run everything. On that note, Davey, let's have the reveal of the joke of the week.
All right.
Sponsored.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the joke of the week. What is a pirate's favorite social media platform? The answer is YarTube.
Davey, did you make that one up? You did.
Hey, that's our favorite platform. So it's got to be his.
All right, YarTube it is. All right. YarTube, very good. All right. We've reached that point in time where we must say some thank yous to everybody. So, how about a thank you? The Captain's Quarters podcast is indeed a ship sailing the seas of the world, always in search of history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a ship, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this ship afloat.
The cast and crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davy Longwood, Gunner Hellfire Henley, Cartographer Mandy Joe, the Powder Monkey, and Juan Cam.
Helping others gives a crew purpose. Our treasured charities that we support: Inc., Investing in Kids; the Humane Society of St. Johns County; Aelia's Acres, a no-kill animal rescue zone, and the cadets of the St. Johns County Fire Department. The 4 major charities that we support, but there's always room for more.
You too can be part of the crew and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon. A small monthly contribution as Powder Monkey or First Mate memberships, or a single contribution. PayPal or Venmo. Go to YouTube, hit the like and follow buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Very good, Davey. I don't think anybody really noticed. It's hard to tell. But my powder monkey here has a flamingo on his shoulder. Maybe I'll put him in his lap so you can see it better. Very good. All right. So show our platforms. Every night, 8 p.m. Monday, YouTube. You can catch us live. Once the show is over, which will be in just a few more moments, you can catch us on Spotify, Instagram, Stitcher, iHeart, CastBox, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. And we do have followers on all of them, ladies and gentlemen, and not the same followers on each one. So that's always good to know. I kind of went and did some looking just to see, and it looks like we have different followers for different formats, and that's kind of good for us. It spreads the word. Now, let's see. Do we have something to show our numbers? Are they good, Davey? Damn. We're down 2. 1565 is the magic number we're trying to hit. I've got a big book on the history of Superman. I think there is a section on when it went up against the KKK. Good. Prior to your show there, because you're going to be on the show with us there, Will the Historian. So prior to that, maybe the week before, we can log in this way and have a conversation and talk about it and take some notes and see where we want to go with it. Parlay 8 says, have my people talk to his people. I think we can do that. Davey, you're my people. Talk to their people. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a nice, relaxed, short, easy show. There's our website, Captain's Quarters. That's our email. I'm sorry, Captain's Quarters Podcast 21@gmail.com. We do have a new Patreon supporter as of just about 15 minutes before the show tonight. Samuel Moon, we're happy to have you aboard also. And we really appreciate all the support that people give us. So Parlay 8 is just putting up some faces there. Let's see if they're good faces. Yep, they're good faces. Very good. And we'll see what we can do about getting them on board the show. They have a really great show. It's a lot of fun to follow them. And the show that they do with us, while they're drinking rum on their end, I'm going to be drinking rum on my end, because that's what pirates do sometimes when they get together. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a good show and we've reached almost that 1 hour mark. As I've always said, if it's just me doing the show, it's only when we have guests that the show runs over, because we like to have conversations with our guests. So, any closing remarks there, Miss Mandy Jo?
Nothing much today.
All right. Well, stay safe out there. Try to stay in the cool air, because it's hot out there too.
Well, I'm still healing from sun poisoning, so I have to keep my legs covered and try to stay as cool as possible. So.
Yeah, it's because you're so white from living out there in Utah that you get on the ship out there or down the ship with us, and look at all that sun you got.
The sun thing is only like this big down my leg. It's like the stupidest spot, but it's called falling asleep on the beach.
Yeah, that's what it is. I've done that before. Very good. Davey, any words from you?
No, we're good.
All right, very good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll close our show with what we normally do. Go ahead, gang.
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always. We can't do it without you. Well, we could, but it's not as much fun. So we'd like to have you be a part of our show every week. 8 p.m. Monday night. We'll see you next week. Talk about D-Day and show you some really cool pictures and videos. Till then, aye.
Time of history's embrace, captain's quarters.